At the start of the week, we saw Alejandro Garnacho, a post that he put out on social media, and this was himself. Did you see it? Yeah. He was wearing an Aston Villa shirt, and as Simon said, he was walking over to, what was it, a Bugatti or something?
A Lamborghini and a Ferrari. I was just conceptualising the world that these kids live in, that no one can relate to. A young kid, 20 years of age, and look at his world. His world is, I'm on holiday, getting paid £250,000 a week, and my world is rocking in front of £1 million worth of cars, and then we got to relate to the things they do.
Yeah,
or the world has got to.
And while he was doing that, Marcus Rashford was being interviewed by a Spanish YouTuber about talking about his ambition to play with the likes of Lamine Yamal at Barcelona next season. Do you think there's always going to be a club out there willing to overlook what these guys may or may not get up to off the field and take them for their on-pitch ability?
Pretty much, if the finances are right, and United are that desperate to get rid. I mean, Garnacho's a younger talent, and someone will feel like they can rein him in a little bit because he's got a lot about him on the pitch. I like him football-wise. I find it's a bit strange trying to comprehend some of the things I see in players doing, because it was just so normal for me as a young lad when I went to Liverpool to be discreet to a degree and make sure other people were always keeping you in your place. There was no opportunity to be that way. You know, the thought of putting on another team's shirt.
You'd never have done it.
I mean, God forbid. It just wouldn't enter your head. But maybe that's something to do with role models, or I don't know. I walked into an environment, it wasn't perfect at Liverpool. The discipline had gone a little bit in some respects. But in terms of how you act and how... I remember, I've told this story before, but I remember months in, I was in a little fear I'd had.
Robbie Fowler. Yeah.
And Robbie said to me, well, you can treat yourself to a... And I was thinking, oh, okay. But I didn't want to go... And it was just how we were taught and how you didn't want to become that person where people think you're above your station. Even like the colour of your boots. Or wearing leggings in the winter when it was freezing cold and snowing, and you had the nerve to put leggings on because of the people were doing it, and Ronnie Moran would go... Get yourself in.
So today, do you look at that picture of Garnacho, can you still not get your head around it? He's wearing a Villa shirt and he's in amongst some of the most expensive sports cars you could ever imagine.
I don't...
And Rashford's name's on the back of his shirt.
I don't dislike him for it. I sympathise with him because I don't think he's got good people around him. And that's a big problem for young footballers.
Do you need to sympathise with him? He's got a few quid now.
Well, maybe not sympathise, the wrong word. I
empathise.
Empathise a little bit, yeah, because... when you become really wealthy and famous, whatever level, you're going to make mistakes. And you do learn from them, hopefully, but you need some good people around you, keep you in check a bit, and guide you through. And if he's only got a lot of people around him telling him how wonderful he is and how amazing you are, you tend to start believing it.
Would you, as an owner, tend to veer off in terms of interest in someone like Garnacho because of what you've heard and because of what you see about a lad like that?
Degrees of scale, isn't it? We're talking about two Man United players, so it's no surprise that the culture of Man United is allowing this to maintain itself. I had players, not with the profile, but we had players that did things that were silly, and I really concentrated in mind whether it was Clinton Morrison or certain other young players that were perceived to be young starlets, and they got told in no uncertain terms.
You?
Yeah, they got told.
What did you tell them?
To straighten up and fly right. And don't miss the opportunities in front of you. You have a responsibility to represent this football club to the highest standard, and if you don't, I'll wring your neck.
And that's so much what you need. The other problem for these two lads, well, especially Garnacho, is he's being compared. If you think of United's success and that brilliant crop of young players, superstars, who were humble, spoke well, kept themselves under the radar because they had Fergie on them all the time. I know Beckham, as he got bigger and bigger, and then Fergie went enough. But most of them, when you think of Scholesy, Nicky Butt, when you think of Phil and Gary Neville, when you think of all of those lads, even Giggsy, who was a superstar, you just wouldn't see these things. I remember Giggsy driving around. I saw him in Manchester once in a little Clio, and he was one of the best young players in Europe. It's, I don't know, maybe it's time, maybe it's evolution of football with the money involved, but I do think it doesn't matter what era you're in, if you haven't got good people around you and you just got sycophants and people who want to just blow smoke and take off you,
profit off you,
you're in a world of trouble.
I remember
the only thing we got
at Kante at Chelsea. When he was at Chelsea, he was just driving a Mini.
I know. Well, the saving grace at the moment, when you watch Garnacho, even though he's had a poor season compared to the one he had before, he is young. That happens. One thing with him I don't see really is a decrease ever in his work ethic on the pitch. The quality you can question, or his finishing or end product, which hasn't been great this season.
But he works hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that fire in his belly, and someone will take him because of that.
What do you think is the upshot for both of them? Garnacho being spoken about in terms of a possible move to Chelsea.
He'll have options.
Fenerbahce. Don't know about that, but he'd end up with Mourinho if he goes to Fenerbahce. Barcelona said to be preparing a loan bid for Marcus Rashford.
Don't see that.
Can you see Barcelona doing that?
Why would you pay 200 or 300 grand a week for a player who's not going to be in the 11?
Because you don't pay, well, it depends what you'd want to do to supplement your squad during the course of a season, and you offset it against a transfer fee, won't you? If you've got to pay a loan fee, I mean, I think it's puff and stuff by his guys being put out there to increase the value in other people's minds of Marcus Rashford, because Marcus Rashford seems to be the one indexing himself to Barcelona rather than Barcelona indexing themselves to him. He's the one that keeps on saying, "I'd like to play in Barcelona. I'd like to play with the young kid at Barcelona." I'm sure they'd be delighted with the influence that you'd be able to have on that young kid, given the standards he's set right now and the standards you don't set right now, Marcus.
Right.
I think the big challenge is how do you square the Garnacho one will take care of itself. Someone will buy him.
I think so.
And it's all profit in that as well. The situation with Rashford, which has all profit attached to it as well, is that someone's going to have to take a view on the fact they want some money for him, and no one's going to take both. No one's going to take 40, 50 million quid on Rashford and a £300,000 a wage bill.
No.
Someone will pay 30, 40 million quid for him and pay him 150 grand a week, but they won't pay him £3. So if he wants to play for England next summer, if he does, and if he wants to continue to find a way to play his football, given the fact he seems completely out on the radar now of Man United, it doesn't seem that he's going to come back into the mix.
No.
It's the curious thing is how they're going to create this. And there's going to have to be some creative thinking, and someone's going to have to take a view. And I'm not sure that Man United are readily of the mindset to take a view. So the player's going to have to take some, because the player's attitude will inevitably be, and I hope I'm wrong, I'm not taking a single penny. In fact, I want to be paid on the way out. That'll be his attitude. So
I hope you're wrong with that as well.
So do I. Because if he wants to play, he has to take a view that he is the reason why. The reasons why Marcus Rashford finds him in a position on the outs is not because of anybody else. It's because of Marcus and his outlook and his attitude. And then the reasons why we talked to Man United fans, or have done previously, and I don't know a Man United fan that's come on this station recently over the last 12 months and had a good word to say about Marcus Rashford. No. In fact, they've been really extreme about
outspoken about
rid.
The only thing he's got in his armour is because of his age, really.
Yeah,
and his value decreasing.
Yeah.
A loan wouldn't suit United.
Do you think on both of them, Danny?
Anyway, they don't want to. They want to sell him.
Definitely, I would have thought you'd think yes with Garnacho. I don't know on Rashford. Do you think we're still to see the best of both of them?
I think we've seen what Rashford's capable of. That's his best. That season he had. That's the best he can be. Can he reach that again is a question mark.
Right.
He's going to need a really strong manager who takes him in and finds a perfect role for him in the team and gives him the freedom to be that person. We certainly haven't seen the best of Garnacho, no.
Okay.
He's got a good chance if he can cut out the nonsense.
Yeah. That is the latest. Maybe Chelsea, Fenerbahce looking at Garnacho. Marcus Rashford could well be that he ends up at Barcelona. But there's a bit more talking to be done yet. And as Simon rightly says, it may well be he'll need to take a trim around that £350,000 a week salary that he is on. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Danny Murphy. It's Wednesday lunchtime and we're live on talkSPORT with Selco, where the trade goes.
The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.